Ronnie Van Zant was born in Jacksonville, Florida in 1948, the eldest child of parents Lacey and Marion Van Zant. At the time, this port city on the northeastern tip of Florida was undergoing rapid expansion. Yet the Van Zants settled away from the industrial and commercial center of downtown Jacksonville, in the semi-rural area of the west side. Here, Ronnie grew up alongside his 5 siblings in a small family home close to the unspoiled beauty of the Cedar River, known to the locals as Cedar Creek.
They weren't guided by any particular rules. Lacey Van Zant was almost never there. The father, he was a hard-living, truck-driving man, and he was very rarely home. And the mother, who everybody called Sis, was kind of a hands-off kind of parent.
Ronnie was a barefoot country boy, you know, on the west side of Jacksonville. We lived down the street there at Mall Street, and me and Ronnie just became fishing buddies. We'd ride our bicycles down to Cedar Creek. I'd be on the handlebars, or he'd be on the handlebars, and we'd go down and take a croaker sack, and we'd catch mullet. We'd catch a sack full of mullet, bring them back and give them to everybody, some black folks on the other end of the street down there. We gave fish to everybody.
Although fishing was the young Van Zant's favored pastime during his childhood, the area surrounding the family home on Mole Street was a rough, working-class neighborhood, renamed Shantytown by its residents. And the quick-tempered Ronnie soon developed, in part through necessity, into one of the toughest kids on the block.
The old saying, then and now even, is the farther north you go in Florida, the more in the south you are. And when you were in Jacksonville, you were at the upper tip of Florida, and it was pretty bad. It was bad country.
Ronnie lived in a neighborhood that's where 12 o'clock noon on a summer day, you didn't want to be in that neighborhood. Okay, and I lived about a quarter mile away, and the houses not much bigger than this room, but they were brick, and they were a whole level up from where Ronnie's people were. They used to call us the rich folks. He lived in the roughest neighborhood they was.
It was blue collar, and it was working class people, rednecks, you know. Happy to be a redneck, you know. And so it was a great neighborhood back then. We called it the Shantytown. They call it the bottom now.
The west side was, everybody knew each other in the west side. We played baseball together, we went fishing together, but we wanted to live here all our lives, but we knew we weren't going to really amount to much of anything here besides you worked for the railroad or you joined the Navy. That was pretty much it. Or you went to college to become a lawyer. And starting a band just seemed to be a whole lot more fun.
Despite being drawn to music from an early age, in particular country and the work of Merle Haggard, and having already developed an enthusiasm for singing, Van Zant's earliest ambitions were not artistic, yet they all involved breaking out of Shantytown. Growing up within walking distance from Jacksonville Speedway Park, his initial childhood aspiration was to become a champion stock car driver. Although with his enrollment in Robert E. Lee High School in 1961, his thoughts turned to more athletic pursuits.
At Lee, early on, he wanted to play football. He wanted to be a running back. And he got play, and they did a scrimmage. In the first play from scrimmage, he got his ankle broken, and they put pins in it. That made him 4F, so he couldn't be drafted. Right before that, when Cassias Clay was in his heyday, before he turned over and changed his name to Muhammad Ali, Ronnie loved Cassias Clay, and he wanted to be a boxer. And I wasn't there that day. And Estes Godwin, which lived over on Pengold on the other side of Woodcrest, Ronnie's side, boxed with Ronnie, and he just beat the hell out of Ronnie. So that changed Ronnie's mind about wanting to be a boxer. And you get your ass beat the first time you want to be somebody, you don't want to be that next day.